Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders. Again with my bro, Brody. What's going on, my brother?
Oh, brother, tough weekend for us both, but doing all right.
Oh, mate, I keep looking down. It's April Fool's Day. I was kind of hoping it was April Fool's over the weekend. It was kind of a horrible dream for both our boys, brother. But, bro, how you feeling after the weekend? Obviously a little bit of a sour one with the doggies getting, a loss coming out of nowhere, got to Newcastle Knights and obviously my boys and that. But how do you usually get over games like that yourself as a fan of football?
Oh, I look forward to the next one, brother. It's like any loss, bro. No matter what it is in life, you just got to dust it off and look forward to the next one, I guess, and try and hope that one goes a lot better for you.
Oh, bro, I was talking last night on Wise Up TV and me and Josh are going back and forth. Shout out to Joshy if he's in the chat. And I was like, oh, what food gets you over a bad loss like that? And I was like, tacos, So we're at Televadra over the weekend, bro, and the Warriors lost. And I remember everyone, getting around, and Kika came up and she gave me a taco. And I was sitting there like, get away from me right now.
She knows.
Bro, that was legit one moment, right? So it's when it felt like we were trying to come back into the game. And I think the Tigers scored just to go further out. But prior to that, it was where Dallin went up for the ball, caught the ball, it was over the line, and then dropped the ball over the line. And as she walks over, she sees Dal on the screen. She goes, oh my God, Dal. And she's like trying to make me happy because we're losing. And I was like, don't talk about him right now.
That's the wrong end of the field.
Oh, bro. But what food gets you over a loss like that, mate? Anything, any little...
Probably a strong drink of wild turkey. Nah, look, probably some chocolate, I guess, especially if it's a night game. You're already watching it, sitting there in bed. I was at Tangalooma watching it, and half time I was pretty confident. Yeah, we come back all sweet. And then, as soon as I think Dom Young scored his second or third, I was just like, yeah, I'm getting another drink.
Well, hopefully this weekend can be a little bit different, bro. But yeah, guys, we'll definitely get into the games. I want to touch on Brodie's thoughts over the Dogs at the moment because obviously, being the Dogs being such a big club at the moment, there's such a big talking point around the league. But just quickly want to jump into the chat as we always do, guys. It is a live stream, so feel free, jump into the chat, give us your questions and that throughout the stream. We'll try and get to you guys as much as we can while touching on all the topics we want to get to. We're going to end the show with some Supercoach as always too, guys. And we do apologize. It's been the last couple of weeks we've been gone. Unfortunately, I've been sick and a couple of different things been going on, and if I do sound still sick, I do apologize as always. But Michael Williams jumping in the chat as always, our brother, getting in there first and jumping in with the Up the Tigers in the chat, so that is disgusting. We'd love to see that. Jazzy, good to see you in the chat as well. Jazzy, sup, Ash and Brody, you all goods? We're all goods, my brother. And Jose, I didn't get to see you last night, Jose, the WhatsApp chat, but good to see you over here. I'm sure he's going to be waiting out he's been waiting for a couple of weeks probably to touch on a couple of different things with the Supercoach, right?
He probably didn't want our tips the last few weeks, though, in all honesty, especially mine. It's been a rabbit hole lately for me on Supercoach, so don't buy into any of my shit this week. I promise you it will not be good.
Oh, bro, he still holds us to the one. Remember when he brought in Adam Dewey that week? And we're like, don't do it.
Yeah, fair enough. I would hold us against it as well. That's an ugly one for us to say no to Adam Dewey now.
It is what it is. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. You never know. It's just the way things go. And Tans, good to see you in the chat as always. But we may as well jump straight into it, brother. Oh, Brody, turn your mic up. Michael is saying, turn it up just a tad.
Is that better, mates? I know you're a little bit old these days.
Yeah, listen to that beautiful voice permeate through that through that microphone. But brother, we may as well jump straight into it. Obviously, it's a tough weekend for both our clubs. When we get one of these, like it's your first loss for the season, our first loss for the season. There's obviously a lot of talking points, especially when your club starts off fairly well. Michael jumping in, turn it up for a year aids. But bro, I want to talk to you about your Dogs. The start of the season, obviously there's a couple of little tweaks that, we could see going into games like these and that. I did not expect the Knights game at all. I don't think that, many people really did, very similar with our game with the Tigers. But How are you feeling about your boys, and what's the sentiment that you're throwing up at the moment around the Dogs? How are you feeling about, a lot of different issues? So we'll touch on, obviously, your perfect spine maybe for the Dogs. Like, how do you feel like you can fix this little issues that you have maybe with your attack and that? Or are you pretty happy with just continuing on to go in the way you are and maybe fixing up these little quirks with just more systematic issues than, changing personnel? Like, how are you feeling about your Dogs at the moment?
Well, look, the weekend was ugly, right? 100% ugly. But it was no real different in attack to what it was for those first 2 wins of the season for us, in all honesty.
Agreed.
Our attack wasn't much different. What let us down on the weekend and stopped us winning that game was our poor defense. No team scores 60-meter tries on us, like Dom Young did 2 times.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we lost the game. It's not our attack. Our attack is pretty bland, but it's kind of been bland last year, this year. It's no real different. It's what let us down was our defense in that game. So I don't really understand everybody jumping in quickly to say, I'll change this, that, the other. I do think there should be some tweaks because it's clearly not working from last year to this game.
Yeah.
But my concerns aren't just because we had a loss. Whereas I feel like a lot of the media, a lot of the hype is because we had a loss. And by all means, if the bandwagoners want to jump off and carry, up in arms because we had a loss, by all means. But no matter how good our attack was on that weekend, we probably wouldn't have won that game because our defense was too poor. And that's going to come down to, Harry Hayes didn't play. Sam Hughes is a normal starter and Satili is impact, so he played bigger minutes. Josh Curran came on and got absolutely creamed and we're down a sub straight away. So there's a lot of fatigue in that game as well for us to then leak that many points. It was always going to be tough to come back. Touching on our attack, I definitely think there's a problem there. And everyone's quick to say that it's Galvin, and I don't fully blame Galvin for it.
Agreed.
He is a 19-year-old kid. He's a big marquee signing, or was a big marquee signing because of the price tag. But Stephen Crichton and Matt Burton were the 2 biggest signings that came before him, and we still didn't have good attack, in my opinion. Not perfect attack. So why is it all getting palmed onto this 19-year-old kid that's now been signed and playing out of position on the opposite side of the field? And yet he's still the only one that seems to be having a crack majority of the game. Doesn't work sometimes, but he's the one that's throwing something up out there. I believe that we should probably try him at 6 and see how that goes. Birdo looked a lot more comfier back in the centres. But yeah, Stephen Crichton at 5'8" is not the option either. I did not like that one bit. So I wouldn't up in arms change everything, but fans and especially Doggies fans need to realise that our attack has not been the most amazing for the last 2-3 years. It's defence that wins us games. We're winning games 16-12 and stuff like that. We're not trying to run down, 18-point deficits each week. Yes, we did it against Canberra last year, but that's not the norm. So it's really just the defence that let us down on the weekend, in my opinion. Our attack was poor, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Your attack's been poor. I'd say like last year you had spurts of moments where your attack was, clicking. And I think Jason Taylor's system is a little bit different to Adam O'Brien's system currently right now. But I think all the sentiment around putting it on Lockie Galvin, it has been really tough to see. Like, just judging on stats, it's been notified that many times around, different podcasters and stuff. But Lockie Galvin as a half has the most touches in the league per game. I think he's got 79 touches or something. The Cleary gets about 60 odd touches. So he's trying his heart out. He's getting the ball as much as he can. He's trying to set the boys up in different positions. And for a guy that's playing, as you said, on the opposite side of the field, he's what he came through with the West Tigers, and in a very different position, because as a halfback, it's a different position to being a 6. Like, there's 2 different ways you go about both those half positions. And it feels like that, unfortunately, he was the scapegoat for that period and is continuing on that tag for me, which is really unfair when I feel like it has been a little bit more of a, let's say, an issue with the more, not say coaching, but I'd say putting this kid in these positions to maybe make him flourish. Like, he obviously, for me, does look like he's more suited to being a 6, a runner of the football and taking the pressure off of, getting people to points in the field. Unfortunately, Matty Burton sometimes does find himself in these, like, in the game, out of the game moments as well. I feel like someone like Lockie Galvin in the 6 jersey, you probably bring more consistency because he does chase the game like always. And I think he should be given credit because I feel like to start of the season, he's actually been really, really good for me seeing how hard he's going at the games. It's just unfortunate that he's got to hold up the standard of being the 7 while also trying to carry the burden of doing his own thing as well. I think that's something he's still got to learn. But are you worried more of the fact of, like, Adam O'Brien's attacking system to or Jason Taylor's attacking system? Do you see too much differences there? Are you worried in that sort of sense as well? Or?
Oh, a little bit, definitely. Obviously, the Knights didn't do too well the last 5 years, and Adam O'Brien was probably at the forefront of that. We're seeing how well sort of they're going this year, but at the end of the day, it's the players that are out there that have got to make the calls on the run, and we have still shown some brilliances of executing some good plays, like the first try we scored against Canberra, the last try we scored against Canberra, the scrum play, Stephen Crichton onto Karaz against the Dragons. Like, there's still moments, and we're still getting to that good ball zone fairly often. It's just not finding the try line. And yes, the Knights' defense was pretty resilient as well. They saved probably 2 or 3. But yeah, I definitely think there's something that's a little bit off this year from last year, but not by much. It's not much better or worse than it was last year. And yes, Toby Sexton did help that a lot when he was 7 because he's a natural 7. Yeah,
exactly. He's a guy that pretty much is going to put you in all the positions to allow your other spine members to really shine. It feels like with your spine at the moment, it's Lockie's trying to shine while also trying to get everyone to the points of the field and doing all. There's a lot going on that young kid's shoulders at the moment. I think it would probably help him going to the 6 and allowing himself to play football. You'll probably see the best out of him. But do you also, like, just to take it away from, the whole, like, pointing at the coaches, pointing at the system, stuff like that, which a lot of people are doing. I've always been in the sentiment that early on in the season, your attack's never going to be at the level that you probably hope it to be. And like I'm seeing, obviously, in the chat already, Jazzy was saying you were averaging 25 points per game last year. Now you're averaging at about 15 points per game. But usually your early parts of the season, you build on like your defense and your structures and all that sort of stuff. And that's when your cohesion comes probably mid to late. And that's where you can really judge the attack. Are you probably more open to sit back and say, all right, maybe it's just the early season, like, boys are sitting a little bit too deep, new attacking system. Give it a little bit of time before you can actually really fully judge it. You've only had 3 games this season, right? You had a bye in there as well.
Yeah.
So, like, is it another thing of maybe it's just got to take a little bit of more time, or do you really kind of want to see Lockie Galvin in the 6 jersey and kind of move that around as early as possible?
I don't really know what we achieved early in the year, like what we're averaging early in the first start of the year last year in the first few games. I'm not too sure, but I don't really know if Galvin should move to 5'8" right now, because to me, Sean O'Sullivan's had a crack at plenty of clubs. Right?
Yeah.
And he's never been one to be, yep, that's my 7.
Exactly.
Are we just going to be going backwards by bringing O'Sullivan in? Yeah, we've got a decent enough system. He looks like he's trained well with us. Yes, he did really well to cover Penrith through the origin period the year he was at Penrith. But as soon as he moved on to the Dolphins, he was back to not getting selected to be a starter. So
exactly.
Is he really an option that is the way to go, or should we just really bite the bullet and bleed Mitch Woods if we're not going to put Galvin at 7? It's for me, it's kind of leave Galvin, continue away at 7, but as soon as Mitch Woods is ready to come through, he's going to move to 6 anyway, right?
Yep.
Maybe move him to 6 now and just bring Mitch Woods in. Like, what are we really waiting for? Why are we structuring Galvin to play like this when he's so much better at playing like that, and you're eventually going to revert him back to that anyway? So you either bring Sullivan in, I guess, if you're worried about bringing Mitch Woods up because of the injury, or you just bite the bullet and bring Mitch Woods up. Or leave it until Mitch Woods is up.
See how... So Mitch Woods was out for 6 to 8 weeks from the start of the season. So we're at round 5 now, so probably another couple of weeks away. So would you be obviously looking at maybe Galvin at 6 and Sean O'Sullivan at 7 for a couple of weeks and then Mitch Woods come in? But or kind of, as you said before, just keep Galvin chugging along at the moment, but then do the move probably a little bit later on. Like, how do you feel about that? Sort of like Matty Burton go to a centre and kind of having Galvin move to the 6 earlier.
I think you just leave it as is for now. You leave it as is for now, and there was moments last year where we looked pretty good, where Crichton started to play that fullback role in attack. Maybe we need to do a bit more of that, because Connor Tracy isn't an attacking fullback. He's more defensive and a workhorse, and he does that really well. I wouldn't drop Connor Tracy for anybody at the moment. He's our fullback, the best one we got there. So I'd keep him at doing what he's doing, but move him into that right centre for attack and let Critter be that floater, floating both sides of that field in good ball zone and having a crack. It worked for us sort of last year leading into the finals there a little bit, and that's probably the struggle we're having as well. We don't have an attacking fullback. It is solely all on Galvin and Birdo. And again, Birdo is very hit and miss in attack. If you could put up bombs like that, why aren't you doing that every time we hit the 50? It just shows that he doesn't want to fully be in the game sometimes. He's either there or he's not. And when he's there, he's absolutely brilliant. He's running games on, he's kicking games on, everything. When he's not there, he's kind of not even he's out there.
A passenger, yeah. Sometimes he does get caught in that passenger role where he does dish off and he doesn't go towards his strengths of running the football or really attacking the line. So when you start to know when Burton's on, he's attacking the line. He's hitting really hard lines out the back of shape and then putting up those bombs out about 40 and 50 out. The last little thing I wanted to get to with the Dogs, bro, and we touched on it a little bit before, but the thought process, it's been a couple of weeks now. We noticed it in the first week that they've moved Critter to the left edge. They also moved Karaz to the left edge. They pretty much just switched their edges over. In last week's game, I don't know if it was only a short-term period thing. I felt like it was, but they end up moving Preston and kick out over. There's a lot of movement between both your edges, bro. How are you feeling about that in the sense of would you just rather Critter go back to the right edge, really shore up that defense the way he knows he can, because we all agree, right side centre is probably got to be your best defender on the field, and that would be Critter. Do you feel like that's probably attributing a little bit to these cohesion issues, to attack issues, to stuff like that could really go on with the Dogs at the moment, which switching edges and stuff like that?
Yeah, it is a big factor. Even, playing footy myself in just normal everyday park footy on Saturdays, you would have certain guys you want as your center and as your edge, and if they moved to the other side and you had somebody new, the cohesion wouldn't be there and it just wouldn't be the same. So I definitely think that does matter a lot. For me, Crichton has probably been having some of the worst misses defensively this year as left center than he has in his whole career. So I think he's been quite poor. 3 tries down Dominic Young down that edge. One of the times Critter was laying on the ground at marker as long with somebody else. But for me, you're this phenom center, best defensive game, everything. This weekend, you need to go back to that right edge and defend up on Latrell Mitchell. You should not be sitting there as the captain, as the best center in the game, all these labels, and sit on that left edge marking up on Jack Whiten when you're going to have Latrell Mitchell on that left edge attacking us, and you're going to leave Galvin and Chuala, who to his credit has been really good, to fend up against David Fafita and AJ and Latrell Mitchell, like the Rabbit's gun edge. For me, Crichton, you should be putting your captain hat on here and going, put me on that right edge. I'm gonna lead the way here. And to answer your question, Jose, that kind of feeds into it. I would only bring Bronson Sherry back in if he's going to that left edge, because he looked out of place on that right edge as well. And last year we had really good shape with, Bronson Sherry running that lead line for kick out, sweeping out the back. A lot of our tries came off that. So right now, our right side, and everybody's looking at Galvin hitting Preston short every time. That's because we do not have a sweeper in Connor Tracy. He doesn't sweep right. He doesn't really sweep at all in our attack. Nothing happens down that right edge. So Galvin just goes to the line, hits short. And he's probably been told to do that as well, to get Preston at that half, to open up that left edge side, and then they're not delivering. So it's all systems, and the players will cop the brunt for it. Galvin's probably wanting to do a lot more and try a lot more, this, that, the other, but he's just getting ushered into doing that, and it's not playing eyes up footy, and that was what Lachlan Galvin is best for. And to me, it's that left edge now, that stacked left edge, that's not delivering enough. In my opinion.
Sometimes it doesn't really work out right. When you stack an edge and you pray that that's going to open things up, it does, kind of towards your point. You kind of took one of Galvin's attacking pieces off that edge with Stephen Crichton, right? You got, think of you as a defender. If you got Preston, and not to say anything, because Chuala's been fairly good as well. Not taking anything away from him. I thought he's been really good as well. But if you've got to defend on Preston running towards you as a half, and then you push off and you got Critter out the back of shape, and let's say there's a lot of numbers going on there. It's just like, and then obviously you got Galvin that can throw a dummy and go, and there's so many different options you got to look at there. If I go switch that up and I've got Chihuahua there, I'm probably more than likely going to sit on my lead there with Jacob Preston and know that I can go out late and cover on Chihuahua at any point. So it doesn't really open up options for Galvin to look good, right? And then, as you said, what's that mainly going to be? A point, get to a point there and then shift left and open things up. Teams are just already going to be numbing up on that side anyway, because all your numbers are on that side. You've got to deal with kicker, you've got to deal with Critter. It's kind of like what's going on with the Bunnies at the moment with that left side. They've been able to score tries off it and that, but teams are going to put numbers that side to make their right side look even better. Luckily, the Rabbits have got Whiten and Campbell Graham there.
And yeah, they've got Jai Gray that actually feeds into that attack a fair bit.
Exactly. So I think there's a little bit of that going on too. And I'm sure Serrato's seeing, and I'm sure that they're going to be fixing up this at times. But I do think that, as you said, that's probably got a little bit of food for thought as well, of the reasoning why maybe these attacking things aren't going your way at the moment. And maybe it is just a thing that's going to take a little bit of time. The one thing I did want to say before we jet off it too, though, is I really recommend people to go listen to the Buy Round podcast and listen to Luke Keary specifically and how he talks about his halves. I'm really enjoying his talk around halves and all that stuff at the moment. And he had a lot of complimentary things to say about Lockie Galvin. He said, I do think he's touching the ball too much, and that's not his fault. It's like him trying to do what he can do. But he's actually really enjoying the way Lockie Galvin's going about this 7, how he's playing over the advantage line, stuff like that. So really, I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think there's just things around him that's not really flourishing as much as what he could, and he's got things that got taken away from him as well. So, but what was you going to say though?
Yeah, another one as well, on that point, is Bailey Hayward was a key point of our attack last year in that lock position. And I feel like Jamin Salmon and Kurt Mann have not offered that for us this year at all. So we're really playing sort of off the deck to our halves straight away instead of playing that lock ball player. It's just not as crisp as it was last year, in my opinion. So that's another factor as well. So, and at the end of the day, have trust in the system. It was the system that Serrato got us to where we are. Yep. And this is obviously part of his plan to have, better flexibility. Guys can play in and out of positions, whatever. Just trust that he's doing what he needs to do. And I'm sure that if what he's doing isn't working, I'm sure he will strip it back to what does work. It's early days in the big plan. Everyone thinks Penrith got good overnight. They really didn't. Penrith Panthers were not really that great of a club for years upon years upon years until, they had the dynasty. So give time, stay patient, and as soon as we talk about your boys in this next conversation, it's going to be the same message.
Pretty much, bro. It really is. And it's like everything in this world, right? Like a house, the base of the house never looks that great when it first getting built. The house only starts looking good when you start to put those finishing touches on. And we're both clubs in this, this time period where we're so early on, but everyone's hoping that we can go to Panthers levels within a year. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where the Panthers took a little while before they got to that level. And then when they held it, looking at the Panthers now, it's looked like they're adding more strings to their bow. They're just well down the road to where we are currently right now. Jumping over to my boys, obviously, a shock performance there against the West Tigers. It's simple thing is we're showing all our system, our system's still there. It's not something that I'm, going into this weekend looking at the Sharks game going, I think we're not going to turn up. We're still doing all the right things. It just felt like over the weekend with us, it's we kind of just switched off in really key moments with individuals, and it kind of put us on the back foot. So, for me, I'm not too bad in a predicament with the Warriors at the moment with that loss. I'm just going well done to West Tigers. They competed on every moment. I just think that the boys there's easy fixes there that the boys can turn up to next week and elevate through that.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And there would be a whole lot of reading the headlines. You do it. You get confident. You would read your headlines and go, we got the Tigers this week. They got no Luai. They got no this. They got no that. This should be an easy win. You come out with that mentality. You're half beat already. And I'm sure your boys would have done that a lot on the weekend. Yep. I'm sure the doggies would have done that a lot on the weekend.
Agreed.
We're back home. We're going to have the fans behind us. We're going to get pumped up and then just come out and deliver flatness. Your boys started really well. So there's no real damaging signs there. You guys can score points whenever you really put your mind to it.
Yep.
The errors upon errors at the wrong moments is what really costed you guys.
Hurt us.
And yous will be all right. And at the end of the day, the only team where fans, if you're going off the win-losses and the performances, the only team that fan base will be happy is the Penrith Panthers.
Really, it is. Yeah.
And all the Tigers maybe because they've leaps and bounds from last year and no one's really expected it. But other than that, everybody's dishing out these performances. The Broncos started 0-2 against pretty poor teams, and then they've now gone 2-0 in the last 2 games against a Melbourne, then a Redcliffe. But they wouldn't be overly happy. Melbourne Storm blew a comfortable lead against the Cowboys. They wouldn't be happy, and they're still going to be in the finals. They're still going to be one of the best clubs that everyone talks about.
100%.
So I wouldn't stress it too much in early days. You're going to get these performances of a roller coaster before you settle into the season.
No, and to be fair, I've been really impressed with my boys to start the season. Like, how could I not? Like, 3 games of the season, we've blown teams out. I know, we're looking back at, the Roosters, we caught it at the perfect time, and I really do think that it's still a positive on us that we put 40 on them. The Raiders, that we put 40 on them, and a lot of teams are getting firefights with the Raiders. Like, we were one of the teams that actually put some scoreline and put a difference between them on it, right? And then, obviously, the Knights game, we rolled in there and we didn't look complacent at all. We went in there and did our job with that game. I'm really happy where the boys are sitting, and we're showing that we have got levels in our game at the moment that are higher than probably a lot of other teams in this competition as well. That one loss does feel like you're bringing it back, because that one period there I was looking at going, maybe we could contend with the Panthers to see where we're at. I don't think we're on Panthers level, but maybe we are roundabout. But after the weekend, you kind of just look back now and go, nah, it still is Panthers here, and the rest of the comp is kind of here, and we're all fighting out. I think we are probably level 2 with Broncos, Melbourne, you guys, those sides that have been fighting, Sharks. We're in that level there, and then everything else behind that, Tigers and stuff, they're still fighting to get into that level. So I'm a bit happy to start the season. It was a poor performance, and I'm down on that performance because I thought, I don't want to be that team getting complacent. Now we got the Sharks and we got the Melbourne Storm that may come in as an 0-4 Melbourne Storm side. That's going to be a real big worry if that happens that way. But just taking a step back and saying, I'd prefer that than us getting smoked by the Roosters the first game of the season, which a lot of people expected, maybe losing to the Raiders. We could have been in such a worse position. So I think the boys have done fairly well. And I'm sure you'd be in the same predicament as well. You guys could have started the season with a couple of close games there, 2 losses on the trot, 3 losses on the trot, but you've got 2 wins there to really work things out and continue to work things on. I think that comes down to our system as well.
Exactly. And both of our systems and the Penrith system is you don't lose, you learn. You come back the next week and you make it better. And losses help complacency. You want those losses now, so that way you could fix the stuff come the time where it matters, which is finals. To answer your question, Ozzy, I didn't have Warriors in the top 4 this year. I didn't even have the Doggies in the top 4 this year. But the way that the Warriors definitely started the season made me think, oh, they can definitely can compete and push into that top 4 for sure. Yep. And, at the end of the day, what I predicted as top 4 was Broncos, Melbourne, Storm, and I think Rabbits. The only Panthers maybe.
Panthers are the one.
Only one out of that is looking like a top 4 squad on paper is the Panthers. On results is the Panthers. Everybody else is hit and miss. So what does the top 4 side look like right now if you're going on solely results? But for me, what the Warriors have dished out with guys still out is a top 4 squad. Yeah.
I feel like at the end of the day, we're still in the early parts of the season, and I think the Panthers are looking just like they are number 1. And at top 4, Tigers fans would probably argue at the moment they got a top 4 side now. Rabbits fans, obviously, all this and that. But I think that we should be pretty happy with how our squads have started the season. There's we're still putting in good defensive efforts and stuff like that. I know the Tigers one got blown out, which sucks, but I don't know. I'm in a good place. I feel like I'm still in a good place. This weekend is definitely going to be a good little test to see where we're all sitting against the Sharkies at Shark Park. And obviously with you boys, you got the Rabbits for Good Friday, which is always a big test. But,
how often, brother, just on a side note, how often do you see teams that should never beat a team in the NBA roll up and beat them?
Oh, all the time.
And I know it's completely different, but at the end of the day, it's not, right? It's a team that should be better than the other team, and you should beat them. And on the day, they don't. For whatever reason, never in a world you would see that team lose to them, but they do. Do you think that they go and, remove all their starters, quickly sack the coach? No, because it's a long season. Yes, their season's 82 games or whatever it is. They've got a lot longer to work on it, and there's a lot more that goes into it. But at the end of the day, it's still a team sport. One loss doesn't derail the system. It doesn't derail what you're planning to do. That's what fans need to remember in the NRL is that it's not, oh shit, we're out of the finals. It's week 4. It's now coming into week 5. Like it's fine. If you start to get a pattern and you go 0-4 and you get some really ugly, low effort wins or losses, be worried. Start to make changes. But we've got smart coaches, guys. Both our teams have really smart coaches. We will be all right.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. I think that, like, at the end of the day, as you said, if your name's not the Penrith Panthers, you're going to dish up these performances, and people are going to understand we're in a time with the Penrith Panthers that is a variable. You don't see this a lot, especially in rugby. Like, even Melbourne's like golden eras and stuff like that. Like, they still dish up one or two of these performances where you go, oh my God. Like, there was a period there where the Warriors were had a little bit of a go against the Melbourne Storm. We found some success in some moments, right? Like, it did happen, but Penrith are just doing Penrith things, and I think that's what's kind of elevating this view on a lot of these clubs trying to be them. It's just we're not there yet, but it will get there and it will get time. We still got such a long season to get to. But we're saying that, though, there wasn't just us as the shock performances over the weekend as well. The Melbourne Storm going down to the Cowboys, we just touched on the Melbourne Storm a little bit. Well done to the Cowboys. All the pressure on their coach just seems to be a little bit alleviated right now after 2 good wins. But the Melbourne Storm, how are you feeling about Melbourne to start the season right now? Like, are you thinking, I've seen a lot of different sort of view sets on them. I've seen a lot of people going, like, Melbourne just not Melbourne anymore. Like, I still feel like Melbourne are still one of the premier teams in the comp. You can't get away from that. But they are starting to lose sort of games that they usually do put to bed when they're ahead. Like, how are you feeling about Melbourne this season and maybe their credentials around contending for the competition?
Well, it's kind of what we predicted, right? We kind of predicted a little bit of a dip, losing Pappenhausen and losing Katoa. And we're seeing that, we're seeing that they are human again. You still don't want to run into Melbourne on a bad day, because Melbourne will just really blow you out and strangle you out of the contest. But they got a lot of new faces. A lot of new faces means not really embedded into the system. So that means there's cracks in their system. There's cracks in their structure that they want to go out there and do. And as good as they do look in moments with the superstars they got, which they're gonna, they can't fully have control of a game the whole time, because at the end of the day, it's 13 guys out on that field at all given times. It's not just the 4 superstars that they do have. So in attack, they look absolutely outstanding. Their defense is still that little bit iffy. As I said, the new faces that don't know that system, that don't know the defensive calls, that don't know the little getaway hold downs that, the Penrith and the Melbourne really, really work on. So they will have those cracks in their armour this year. And that's good for everybody else in the comp to be able to target those vulnerable stations. But yes, I definitely was shocked to see the Cowboys run them down, a team that's not in good form at all. But they found what worked for them and they just went back to it. And I feel like a lot of teams don't do that enough. They notice, they identify a weak spot, they go there, they score. Then they'll just fuck off down the other end of the field. I'm like, go back there. Like, why do we not keep going back there? Like, the Knights did it really well against us on the weekend. Adam Dewey did it to you guys down your right edge defensively. You just got to be cutthroat with it. I don't care if it's boring. If some dude's like not playing well, you've seen Ezra Mann get targeted hard against the Eels. Four tries in a row down his edge. Like, be cutthroat with it. What are we doing trying to we better let them get a try on the left edge? Fuck that. Just like balls.
Trying to be too cute. They're trying to be too cute with it at times and that. But with Melbourne though, are you starting to get worried more so of like their second half fade out? So going both games, the Broncos and the Cowboys, they went into halftime with the lead. So 16-10 for this one. I think last week was 14-0 from memory against the Broncos. The Broncos brought it back with 2 tries.
Yeah, look, the Broncos game, I wouldn't be too concerned about. They're really, they're very X-factory and can do that to you.
Yeah.
14 points is not a lot. I was about to say, the goal kicking really let down Melbourne on the weekend. They would have won if they kicked all right, but the Cowboys were just as bad. So never mind that conversation. Look, they've been away from home a lot this season as well, Melbourne. I think they've only had 1 home game, and I think that was against the Broncos.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken.
Quickly check that, but yeah, you're probably right.
I wouldn't be too worried. You're missing so many superstars. Trent Liera only just got back. Ali Katoa was out. Sua's still finding his way, his voice at fullback there. Jack Howarth has been out. He's only coming back. So plenty of guys still to come back.
So they've had 2 home games. They had the Parramatta game to start the season, but they are going from Melbourne, then going to Sydney, going to Melbourne, then going North Queensland. Like they're bouncing between the two. They're at Combank this weekend, then they return back home against my Warriors. But I feel like it's the same thing every year with the Melbourne Storm. Like we all have these questions around Melbourne, but Craig Bellamy is such a good coach where he figures things out, and they may still have. Probably not to the level, right, of what the old Melbourne Storm teams have probably had in the past. And, like, this is the reason why they chase, like, a Zach Lomax and that to fill different spots. Obviously, they're down on some troops there, too. People probably should remember that. But I always feel weird questioning Melbourne because I always know that they're going to fix it up. Maybe not probably to the level of maybe last year, years past, right? But I think they will fix it up to still be the Melbourne Storm that we all kind of know. They've already showed spurts of that this year, like that first game against Parramatta where they absolutely put the cleaners through them. I'm sure that they're going to find ways, and I think this weekend against the Penrith Panthers, I think they're probably going to have to turn. They're going to really turn up for that one. I'm really excited to see how they go against that game because if they turn up and give it a red hot crack, they're probably one of the only teams really to go against Penrith and really take anything away from, I believe, at the moment. Shout out to Boston in the chat as well, our South fan. Good to see you, my man. Personally, as a Dogs. I don't think the Dogs' rival, I don't think they need to change anything. That's what he's saying, Boston in the chat.
The only thing I think to change is maybe Critter back to that right centre. That's all I would do, is just to strengthen up the defence down that edge. Was his more preferred side, and now all of a sudden it's not. So that's probably all I would really look at.
Another game I want to touch on too, bro. To start off the weekend, we had the Roosters knockouts, basically the Manly Seagulls there, 33-16, and also take away their head coach there, Anthony Seibold, got the sack after this game. But how are you feeling about the Manly Seagulls now? I think we predicted them as wooden spoon to start the season. There was a big discussion on that. Do you think they, moving on from him, Kieran Foran coming in, like how are you feeling about his, him jumping in as interim coach? Obviously, it's very early on. He hasn't really coached too much at all. Feels like a jump.
Yeah, it'd be like a Benji Marshall situation, all right? He'll bring a lot of energy. He'll have a lot of respect given to him, but we won't see a lot of change this year.
Sweet. Boston's jumping into a Good Friday match as well, brother. He's jumping in the bar. Hopefully it's a big... goes. What do you reckon? A big turnout for that game this weekend?
Yeah, I heard rumours 55. So hopefully it's good turnout. Hopefully the weather stays dry as well. It's a bit wet here in Brizzy for the Easter, so hopefully it stays dry down there in Sydney, and hopefully it's a good matchup. I don't want to see either team get blown out. I like to see a good close one, as we've seen on a few other Easter Friday matches. So hopefully it's a good close one.
But back with that Manly game, here you go, Michael, in the chat with some stats here. 50 out of 52 stats, most in the NRL history for the Roosters. Look at this guy.
Yeah, well, again, if you see the Roosters do that, you would probably want to see a bit better of a scoreline. Like, look, 33-16 is nothing to sneeze at. But when you look at the Roosters' talent they've got across the park, if they're completing 50 or 52 sets, you'd be a little concerned that's not around 50 against a struggling Manly team that sacked their coach. That's being nitpicky, right? But nonetheless, still a great performance for the Roosters, who are still trying to find their feet in their new system as well, and shocker weather as well. So that's pretty outstanding. 50 or 52 sets in that weather.
Yeah,
I know the sets are inflated because every time it's 6 again, it's a completed set. But still, nonetheless, 2 errors for the game only in that weather is incredible.
Yeah, 100%. Jose a little bit early on, so it could be worse. We could be Dragons fans. We may as well touch on probably the worst game I've seen in a little while. That was an absolute drag. I know you probably turned it off at one period of time. I watched it all the way through, and I wish I didn't. How you feeling about the Dragons right now, brother? I know what did we put the Dragons? We put them second last. I think we had a back of... we were all talking about whether Flano could get a wooden spoon or not. It's looking dire at the moment. Like, what would you look at to help out the Dragons right now? Are you looking at the halves? Are you looking at... What are you looking at?
Both Flanos.
Yeah. Both Flanos.
Both Flanos. Get rid of both of them.
Jeez, he wants clean it out.
Attack laughed last week, not the Titans game, the week before, on that left edge where Charlie Geimer went to the bin and they did not attack down that left edge once. I'm sorry, that is on you, Kyle Flanagan. I don't care how much Holmes or Atkinson are calling the ball. You need to be screaming that shit. You need to, next scrum, get in their ear and say, motherfucker, there's a sin bin player on this edge and a back rower when he is there playing in the fucking centers, and you're not getting any ball down there. Like, Jesus Christ. I hope the Dragons have a worldie of a game this week and Shane Flanagan's forced to leave Kyle Flanagan out of the team. And if not, he needs to be sacked because there's just biasness there on playing his son. So, I don't know. I don't know what the Dragons need to do. I really don't. They just, you hear about them having a really good preseason every year. They come in fit. They come in solid. And they just deliver this. And we kind of noticed that in their trial game against, I think it was the Rabbits.
Yeah.
That they're just not there. So, go figures.
I want to give them credit for holding into contests. Like, they do seem like they're holding. They just can't do anything with it, though. Like, they're a team they're making really hard to watch football games because they hold in things and they get in positions where they should be winning games, but they just can't execute. And for me, I'm looking at, like, I really would love to see that Cade Reed or something like that get an opportunity. Seeing him in the trials, and he's got that little bit of that Sammy Walker feel to him where he's willing to pull the trigger on certain things. I think it could really open up the attack of the Dragons and elevate them. But I agree, like, it's been a really tough watch if you're a Dragons fan out there. And shout out to the Titans getting their first win of the season because their season's been looking fairly dire as well. But that game was... I don't know. It was pretty much like the Dragons kept tripping over their feet, and the Titans kept wanting them to attack on them on their line again. So it was such a wild game to watch. It really was.
I would really like to see, Dan Atkinson's been doing a really good job, I believe, as a natural halfback in that Dragons jersey. He's just getting no X factor from Kyle Flanagan, 5'8". I would really love to see Cade Reed come into that 5'8" role on that left edge. I would love to see Valentine Holmes go back to that left edge really open up that attack, and have Sully with Atkinson there just hitting that short ball, picking either you're hitting Sewer or Sully. That still gives Atkinson some really good attacking options, and I think that would be all right.
Yeah, I completely agree, bro. I completely agree. So we'll see what the Dragons do in the next upcoming weeks. It does look like he is carrying Cade Reed. We'll get to that a little bit later on, but he's carrying him in the reserves. So there's still a chance that he could jump into the lineup, but he's got King Tongia there in that 6 jersey. King Tongia just left a lot to be desired when he came on over the weekend as well, but maybe give him another bit of a chance. But any other games you want to touch on? Obviously, the Broncos getting over the Dolphins. Well done to the Broncos in the Queensland Derby. The Panthers just continue to do what they do, and the Sharks 34-22. That was an entertaining game. That made me a little bit more positive going into the Titans game, thinking we might see attacking footy in the Titans game. It just didn't happen that way.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. I don't turn off much rugby league when I'm settled in to watch it, and I think I can count on my hands the last 5 years how many games I've turned off. I can count on one hand.
Yeah, and that was one.
That was one, 100%. I've walked away from the TV. I think there was only one game last year. I can't remember the one off the top of my head. But not many gets turned off. I love my footy no matter what it is, but I couldn't watch it. I really couldn't. I don't think Tui Piloto touched the ball once.
Yeah, it was a dire watch, that one. But shout out to all the fans that got to watch that one through. You probably want to erase that one from the memory bank, as always. But let's go to a bit more positivity, brother. Let's go for our team of the week from round number 4. All right. At fullback, who have you got this week at fullback? What are you got?
Scotty Drinkwater.
Yeah, Scotty Drinkwater? Me too,
Yeah.
me too. What are your thoughts?
I thought we were the same. Oh, look, just the last couple of weeks, everyone jumped off the Scotty bandwagon with the rim injury, myself included. We thought that he would struggle a little bit, but, he's really found a home motivating that Cowboys team as much as he can by solo efforts, I guess. He was a really big part of that comeback.
100%, bro. The guy's got attacking ability. He's such a really entertaining fullback to watch play footy. The only thing with Scotty has always been just defensively, just him getting in front of guys and just getting his body in front. With the rib injury, it kind of hurt that, but he's definitely playing some good footy at the moment. Moving over to wings, I think we're going to probably have a couple of guys from similar sort of game in this one here.
Ooh, it might be a little bit different. There was some really good winger performances. I went Tommy Jenkins.
Yeah, I love it. Milky.
Yeah, and I went with Will Warbrick.
Shout out to the new signing of New Zealand Warriors 2027, baby, Will Warbrick.
We will get to that. But, look, we'll touch on it now. What a great signing. I think you guys need that. Still got that bit of Dallin to him, where he's a really good try scorer, good meter eater, but has that error in him. But I think he's a lot more consistent and a lot more, lot better of a signing, a lot of value. I think he's a great signing. Coming from a system like Melbourne as well is going to be great for you guys. It's what you needed.
Yeah, we definitely like Roger moving on to Wakefield. Shout out to Roger getting his money as well. Like, we love Roger for what he's done. He's been incredible for us. But, Will Warbrick coming over to fill that spot now. Now Roger's moving on. Great replacement there from the Warriors. And we still got Loffy and all that sitting in reserve grade. So really good depth sort of play that we have everything else. But Warbrick will spearhead, hopefully, the attack in the future. For me, bro, I've got Braden Burns and I've got Dominic Young. I went two different ones there. I thought Braden Burns was incredible against the Storm, bro. He's one of those silky, like those players that could pull out a silky game here and there. I think I've said to you multiple times, he's like a James Schiller type. Every time I watch James Schiller, he just does something. Braden Burns is in that realm as well.
Yeah, he played absolutely incredible. Against a tough team like Melbourne as well. Like, he was carrying it tough out of that back end, and then to come up with a couple of tries as well. Outstanding. And Dom Young, couldn't go past him. He still doesn't do a lot of meter eating work, but
no,
that speed and space is just kind of unmatched, isn't it? He's your Jason Saab type all over.
He really is, bro. He really
Shout
is.
Shout out to Sarko, though, as well. He was another good winger. James Sarko. Jermaine Sarko, sorry.
We'll touch Jermaine Sarko, bro, going to the Melbourne Storm as well. So Melbourne losing Warbrick, but they fill him in with Sarko. Just Melbourne continuing that recruitment retention is just incredible.
Yeah, and goal kicker as well with Nick Meaney leaving. So he had a killer performance on the weekend. Shout out to him. And I think there was one more. Marky Mark was the other one. Another great performance as well from a winger. So very tough for wingers this week. Let us know who you guys went with.
But to be fair, bro, there's been like tough ones, like I think, throughout this team of the week. I think there's a lot of players you could fill into different roles here. Going to centre, who'd you have in centre?
Yeah, I went with Casey McLean, and I went with Robert Toyer.
Yeah, see, I got two different ones again. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's. I went Tolu Kola in a losing team. I thought that he continues to stand out as a player that Manly. Like, I would love to have him. And Katoni Staggs. I thought Katoni in the Battle of Brisbane, he really stepped up in some key moments there. So I went Katoni there in that one. But
the toilet inspector, you believe in that one?
What's that?
Come on,
no, there was no way. April Fool's ones, eh?
Come on, toilet.
Was that say his last name, Ash? I don't know what Michael's on about here. Probably Gola? I don't know.
Who was it?
Oh, Nwangani Tawase. It's probably Nwangani Tawase.
Yeah, that's who it would be.
I was waiting for this. I was like, wait, here we go. Yeah. But no, two great performances there. Well, four great performances. There was a lot of good ones. I was going to put in Robert Toyer as well. But I just wanted to shout out to Gola as well. Just like that, and that try, we'll get to that a little bit later on. My God, freak.
Yeah. Oh, look. Yeah, we will get to that later on.
All right, 6 and 7 of the week.
Jake Clifford for me, man. He played outstanding. And then I couldn't split Hughes and Cleary, and I ended up going with Cleary because of the win.
All right, I'll go different then. So I got Jake Clifford as well. I think Jake Clifford's having an all-time sort of year at the moment, other than that Newcastle year that he started off Daly M. Remember that?
Yeah.
But he's playing really good footy. Shout out to him. I went Adam Dewey. What he did against my Warriors, I just wanted a big shout out to Adam Dewey. I thought that he was incredible. But I could have had Cleary there. You could have had Hughesy. There was a lot of big number 7 performances. Daniel Atkinson. No,
definitely not.
Sorry.
JC was good. Adam was really good.
Yeah. Getting back from injury and that. Shout out to him as well. But it's been a crazy week. Yeah, really good performances from boys out there. Moving to 8 and 10. Who's that front row?
I found it hard this week for funny, so I went with Jacob Saifidi. I thought he had some really good moments, and I went with Nafahu White. Yeah,
I got exactly the same, bro. I went down the exact same chart. Yeah.
Maybe it was
Jacob
hard
Saifidi.
this week.
It was very hard this week, bro. I think they were the big standouts. Number 9?
I went with Harry Grant, and I know who you went, and I really liked it, but I wasn't going to change.
No, I went Harrison Graham. Shout out to Harrison Graham coming from the Dolphins. He was the number 1 signing for the Dolphins as well, too. The first signing the Dolphins ever had. And then he obviously leaving, and they let him go, and Newcastle reaping the rewards. But how good was he? I know it sucked to watch him on your end, but he was very, very good.
Like, why are we getting killed by this amateur rookie?
He's actually had 2 really good games this season. He had the Manly game. He didn't play against us, which was real weird, but there's something there with him. So wait to see how that plays out. Edge back row, though. Who we got?
I went with Isaiah Papali'i, and I went with KPP.
Nice. We're really going different in some areas here. I went Fini Fuyaki as well. Incredible year that he's had so far. And Arama Howell, just to get the Titans player in there. Shout out to Big Howell.
Yeah, you got to give it to one. You got to win something, right?
100%. And what he bruh, the start of the season, he couldn't get over that try line. Now he's scoring tries for fun. So shout out to Howell.
Meaties all round.
Yeah. Hopefully they keep coming with Supercoach. So.
Oh, definitely.
All right, and that 13, who's got the 13 jersey? Oh, bro.
I went with Alex 12.
Yeah, same. I had Isaiah Yeo for a little period there for his 50-minute stint, but Alex 12.
And then Alex 12 came with a 70-minute.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I can't go away from big Alex 12 there in the middle. But let's have some fun, hey? Let's have some fun. Who was your hit of the week?
Oh, I think everybody has the same hit of the week, this one.
Yeah. You know, Basami solo on Josh Curran.
Oh, no, I went with Saifidi on Galvin. Nah, just kidding. I definitely went with the one on Curran,
Bro, that was, shout out to Josh Curran. Apparently, was it Willie Mason said on Levels podcast that he went to the sheds and Josh Curran was strapping himself up to go back out there again. The physio said, no, don't do it. His top rib, he broke his top rib, so poor bloke.
He's going to have fun for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. The other hit of the week I'll get to a little bit later on. Try of the week.
Kohler, brother.
Yeah.
Kohler solo try. Honestly, that was some good tries, like the flick
pass
from Seb Chris for Hudson Young. Will Warbrick's one from the pass from Harry Grant.
Yep.
Dommy Young was a good one. Xavier Savage was a good one.
That's the other one I was looking at, that was a good one.
Farlongo's footwork was another good one. So, take your pick, really. But definitely Kohler. Yeah,
bro. Hey, and shout out to, Sul Farlongo. He's the worst duck goose player ever because he throws up goose steps in every play he can get. Shout out to player of the week?
I went with Milky. I went with Tommy Jenkins.
Shout out to Milky. Yeah, he's been incredible. He's leading out the try scoring this year. Probably going to take it out the way that's going.
He's got, 10 already? I think he's scored doubles every week.
Yeah, he's just on a different level. Maybe a little bit of an orange smoky there. I don't see it just yet, but he would do a good job there, I feel.
Effort all around, but I think there's guys that you would want to go to instead.
I do too. And egg of the week.
Oh, this one's pretty... Oh, it's not straightforward. There's a few of them, but it's definitely Dylan Lucas.
You got Dylan Lucas?
Yeah. I got Dylan Lucas. Dude's running... Like, why would that dude be running across field, like, pointing at his own players and you want to whack him? Obviously, he's caught it in goal, brother, and you've just... Go sit down and think about what you did.
You know what? Like, I had... was it with Bumpy's one, right? Bumpy, I was like, surely, like... Not to say it wasn't a sin bin, but I was like, come on. He went the opposite way. He wasn't going towards the 20. And I was like, that sucked for a sin bin against us. Then I saw that game. I saw that one. I went, maybe it should have been a sin bin. Yeah.
No, I think your guys should have challenged. And I think it should have been, like, it was so close and touch and go that if he caught it in goal or not, you wouldn't have been able to hear the whistle. And he's not run towards the 20. He's ran to go down the sideline.
Yeah. I was there. That one sucked a little bit, but when I saw the Lucas one, I was like, I can't really defend Lucas on that one. That's pretty crazy.
Not a chance.
My one was those sin bins, the 2 sin bins of that, but the other one was Big Red. Shout out to Big Red, the other sin bin of the weekend. He was also going to be my hit of the week, but because of, Solo's hit, like, you can't go away from that. But, man, Big Red, hey, in the middle.
Brain explosion. He came forward for, I don't know what reason. He walked 5 metres forward towards Nico Hines before he tapped it and then decided to tackle it. But Licky Met's also trying to be Tom Brady. That was another good one.
Leave my boy alone. Everyone's getting into that. It was a horrible moment there. Shout out to Lukey. He'll be better for that. But no, fuck. Especially Big Red with that one, bro. Like, 12 points. They lost by 12, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, lost by 12. And in that period, they were 12-0 down. That sucks, bro.
Yeah, that does suck.
The Raiders, man. The Raiders. I'm sure that hopefully they'll get back on the winning track soon. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. All right, we want to get through some tips before we jump into Supercoach?
Yeah, let's see what we got coming up.
All right, my man. So the first game of the weekends, I'm just going to get my Supercoach tips app up, guys. If you haven't joined our league, I'm not sure what the rules are with the league where you can jump in anytime and you can still hold on to your tips. We'll have to wait and see. But we are on Supercoach tips this year, guys. League code was in our earlier videos. First game of the weekend, we got the Dolphins versus the Seagulls at KO Stadium. My brother, not too many changes going on here with both these sides. I'm looking at Herbie Farnworth putting on an absolute ripper in this one, so I'm going to go to Dolphins at KO.
Yeah, I've gone the Dolphins by 26.
Ooh, 26. I went to Dolphins by 16.
15? Jesus Christ.
15.
Right.
Yeah, 14 and a field goal, Isaiah Katoa.
Herbie Farnworth.
Herbie Farnworth field goal. No, but should be a good game there. We'll have to wait and see how Manly turns out with Kieran Foran there in the coach's box. First game on the Friday, the Good Friday game, brother. We got the Rabbitohs versus the Dogs. As you said, maybe 50-odd thousand there. Probably won't break the record for the 70-odd like last year, but would be great to see if you were able to give that a shake, right?
Hopefully. We'll see what they're doing. I know that the kids are free or something.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that get posted up. So shout out to the Doggies for doing that, or the Rabbits for doing that, actually. Excuse me. So, yeah, hopefully it's a big turnout.
How you feeling about this game, though, bro? The Rabbits, I think we spoke about this a little bit before. I think if there's a couple of changes with the Dogs, I probably would have maybe a little bit more rosy-coloured glasses Doggies way, but at the moment I'm just edging it to the Rabbitohs. I'm
going to go the Doggies. I
Good
know
man.
I mentioned at work that I was a bit up in the air, but I feel like they'll bounce back well this week. Love the Harry Hayes inclusion this week for us. So Satilli back onto the bench for the impact. So I think we're going to roll the Rabbits through the middle. I think we'll really restrain them, and then hopefully they won't get too many chances to have a good crack at our line. So I'll go us on a close one.
I tell you what, it's going to be a cracker of a game because Serrato's going to have your boys ripping and raring after last week, and Wayne's going to have the Rabbits boys ripping and raring after what happened last year. So that's going to be an absolute cracker, guys. Make sure you tune into that one, 3 o'clock on our Friday, Queensland time. I think that's Queensland time, it is? Yeah,
it is Queensland time, yep.
Beautiful, because that's the better time in the world. All right, the next game at CommBank, 7 p.m. Queensland time. We got the Panthers versus the Melbourne Storm. I went a bit of a roughie with this one. I understand Penrith was just on this crazy track and they look unbeatable at this moment. But I think Melbourne have got to pick up a win somewhere here. To go 4 losses in a row would be un-Melbourne-like. So I'm going Melbourne Storm against the Penrith Panthers.
Wouldn't this only be 3 losses in a row, or you
no, because they're going to lose to the Warriors. Yeah, exactly right.
I thought that's what you were getting at. So you really want them to win this week, don't you?
I really do. I need them to win, bro. I really do. But honestly, if Melbourne come in with the right game plan and they really attack at it, they're going to have to play a 10 out of 10 game. I think they can give them just a shake, and I'm going a 1-12 sort of victory, like really close.
Yeah, I can't give it to them. I think Penrith absolutely target the youngsters in the Melbourne squad and just
totally understandable. Yeah, totally understandable, my bro. Shout out to Freddie Lussick getting his starting jersey there too for the Penrith Panthers.
Mitch
Warrior
Kenny's out, I believe.
With the hip drop, yeah. That was a bit of a tough. To be fair, I didn't get your thought on this a little bit earlier. The hip drops that have been happening this year, the Couchman one was really unfortunate, and that probably deserved whatever it really kind of got.
I don't think it deserved 4 weeks. When you look at Sipley, got 4 weeks, and his was ugly. So I believe going off, I believe Sipley deserved more, and Couchman deserved what he got.
Yeah, and for that one though, on Mitch Kenny. Mitch Kenny's one looked more conventional tackle than it did a hip drop for me, but. It still obviously caused a bit of damage. It kind of, I don't know. I was a little bit iffy on the sim binning and all that, but I guess that's what they call it these days.
I think we got penalised for one.
Yeah, you got penalised for one as well. That was, I think it was Lockie Galvin. Yeah.
I don't think that one was a hip drop because, anyway, look, you're going to be here all day, so.
I know. I know. I was like, yeah, crazy, but yeah, shout out to that. Roll with it. Next game of the weekend, we got the Dragons versus the Cowboys at Jubilee. For me, I'm going Cowboys after the win over the Melbourne Storm. But is there a chance that
I can't tip the Dragons at all at the moment? Their attack is so flat. It's so bad to watch. So it wouldn't surprise me if they finally pull one out. But I don't care who they're up against this week. I'm not tipping them. And the Cowboys are going all right. So I guess it's them.
Big shout out to Halangahu getting on the bench there too. Really excited to see him back in the Dragons jerseys, but I don't know if he'll be able to change whatever's going on there at the Dragons currently right now. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Next game, we got another Queensland W. We got the Titans versus the Broncos at Cbus Super Stadium. That's going to be a dry track. I think Broncos would put the cleaners through the Titans in this one for me.
Yeah, I'm going to this game as well, so I'm going to go the Broncos 13+.
Yeah. Broncos 13+ in this one. Shout out to Jesse Arthurs getting a plug in this game. And for Warriors fans out there, the player we tried to get off the Broncos, Verhoeven, sitting on the bench. Probably won't play, but just in case, keep an eye out on this game to see the future centre of the Kiwis, maybe. We got the Warriors versus the Sharkies at Shark Park. I'm not calling it Ocean Protect Stadium, even though I just said that. That's an ugly name for a stadium. For my boys in this one, I think that Webby will have these guys, the boys wanting to bounce back. I think it's going to be a real close game. I can see it either way. But I'm going to go with our boys just coming over the top with the 1-12 contest at Shark Park.
Yeah, Jacko 4 to dominate ads. We're going to go the Wars as well.
Up the Wars, baby. $2.45, or you can get them on Sportsbet, right? Or $2.40.
Yeah.
So
what did we do? We pieced up a nice little multi earlier today. We'll get to that.
Yeah, 100%. That sounds good for me. Guys, keep an eye out for some value here then. McDonald Jones Stadium, we got the Knights and the Raiders. This one I feel like can go different either way, but I just feel like with the Raiders on a little bit of a losing streak, I think Ricky will have these guys humming for it. I know Newcastle got off a good victory with the Dogs. I just think the Raiders will be itching for a victory some type of soon, and I think it will happen now.
Raiders win it through their forward pack this one, I believe.
100%. Going Raiders. We're both going Raiders. And last game of the weekend, we got the Parramatta Eels versus the West Tigers at CommBank Stadium. I think this is a really close game. You can go either way on it. I'm swaying the way of the Tigers. You know, they beat my boys last week, but I'm just not sold on the Parramatta Eels still. I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling for me. So I'm going to go to the Tigers in a close one.
I see it, but I am going the Eels. I just think this is the type of game Mitch Moses gets up for and finally delivers.
Yeah, 100%. It does. Like, Mitch has been pretty slow out of the blocks this season, so there will be a game that he's going to have to put it together. Will probably have to be now against the West Tigers because they're in some sort of form right now. All right, but what is the bet for the weekend? What do you got?
Well, going off our tips there, all right? So I've done two, all right? So we've gone with the Dolphins at $1.35. We've gone with the Cowboys at $1.70. We've gone with the Broncos at $1.22. We've gone with the Warriors at $2.41, and we've gone with the Raiders at $1.58 and the Tigers at $2.13. This gives you odds of $22.70.
Ooh, lovely. I like it.
Right, and then with that said, we've also gone with pretty much the same multi, but we've taken out the Tigers and we've put in the Bulldogs at $2 before they dropped. And that is also paying $21.32. So there's a bit of value there in some of these outsiders, and that's just head-to-head. No lines, no nothing like that. But, yeah, some good value there.
Yeah, guys, make sure you gamble responsibly. If you are going to have a little bit of a punt this weekend, shout out to the New Zealand fans out there with your tab and all that sort of stuff. They don't have too many betting companies out there. But, yeah, I love to see hopefully the Warriors get up this weekend and get some value for you. Hopefully the Dogs get up this weekend and get some value for you as well. But before we go, let's touch on some Supercoach. We have been racking our brains this week. It feels like a real weird week of Supercoach for me. Like, you know, I've been touching it with you. Like, it feels like we want to trade, but there's nothing really there just yet, or there's no guns I'm looking at going to that are like really confident fires right now. But I think we're just gonna have to jump on, pull the band-aid off and see what we got here. So after the weekend that I've had here, 1,258 points. What score did you get over the weekend, my brother?
Less than that, brother. So if you're panicked, I'm screaming.
Going not too bad in the Down Unders League, guys. I will change because you won't be able to see everything. Oh, yeah, you will. There you go. Brody is sitting here in the 9th position. Shout out to Jose in 5th. Shout out to the steak knives and the Bulls. Shout out to Brett and the Bulls. Very, very good start to the season.
Sharma is up there.
Sharma.
Yeah. Tough.
Tons with a great start to the season as well, brother.
Yeah. There's a few people doing really well. I feel like I'm missing the par. Anything under 5,000 at the moment is not good enough. That's less than 1,000 a week. So, sorry, how many weeks has it been? Round 4.
It's round 4, yeah.
Yeah, that's less than 12.50 a week. Sorry, and that's not where I want to be. So, what do you do?
We'll be making moves, mate. We'll be making moves. All right, Brody here with the 1,171. Who missed for you? Yeah, James Tedesco. There was a lot of talk about James Tedesco coming to the game. Yeah, everyone went down on that one. Pretty poor one there from him.
Jacko Ford's dominating, playing 80. Oh, Brody's got him in Supercoach. Let's rip him off at 58 minutes or something like that. Let's have a shocker. Jacob Preston, decides to have a shocker. Teddy can't do anything right. Look, leave Ha out as well.
There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there, but shout from my end, Kai Pearce-Paul getting some decent points there. I'm pretty happy with that move at the moment. Isaiah Yeo getting 76 and getting pulled off early is always a good sign. Fa'alongo has been incredible for us this season, but yeah, I went Valentine Holmes on the captain. I so wish I went Cleary on the captain. I so wish that.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. But look, my captain wasn't too bad. Val, look, not too bad. You still did over that 1,200, right? That 1,200 realistically these days in Supercoach is your benchmark. That's what you really should be getting. With 17 players, we should be on that 1,200.
100%. So coming to this week, brother, my trades that I have done so far is I've actually cashed out on Jesse Colquhoun. He's been scoring really well for me. I feel like maybe this is a little bit too early of a trade. Who knows? But I wanted to cash out and he's 425 because I've been pretty happy with that sort of influx. I went with Simeone Leafi. I know he's not going to produce too many points or minutes at the moment, but it's more of a cash out option. And that's given me the option to go from Stephen Crichton to Nico Hines at the moment. So I was trying to go Keanu Kearney to Reece Walsh. It wasn't able to do so with 246k in the bank, but I was able to go Stephen Crichton in the flex to Nico Hines. I still got maybe an option to go even Stephen Crichton to Reece Walsh. So we'll wait and see how that continues to play out for me right now.
Latest, Jazzy.
Good to see you, Jazzy. Thank you so much for coming through, my bro. So this weekend, this is how my team's going to be looking at the moment. So Harry Grant is there in the hooker, Payne Haas and Stefano there in front row. My edge back row is Kai Pearce-Paul, Isaiah Yeo, Dave Fafita. My bench there in Helam Lukey and Noah Martin. In the number 7 jersey, we got Nathan Cleary. Number 6, I've got Jonah Pezzett and Cody Walker on reserve. My centre wings is we got Herbie Farnworth, Valentine Holmes, Latrell Mitchell, Campbell Graham. Good to see him back off that shoulder injury, so hopefully I'll get that cash influx there. Stuart Fa'alongo, Keanu Kearney there, and Nico Hines is in my flex right now. My captain options are Herbie Farnworth and Valentine Holmes on the captain, but more than likely looking to loop Herbie Farnworth while he dusts up Ruben Garrick this weekend.
Yeah, we're really hoping that. 2 questions I've got, brother, is you're not tempted for a reserve on Matt Cassini? Playing, Casey McLean absolutely killed that left edge of the... I know the Tigers aren't the Panthers, but temptation there.
A little bit. I think I've just trusted in like a Cody Walker at the moment, which could be a risky play. Cody Walker would probably be the one to maybe go to a Macassini if I do feel it, because I'm definitely up in the air with my reserve options. Arama Howe, I probably wouldn't touch him either. So, yeah, that definitely could be an option. I'm not opposed to it, but at the moment, I just feel like I'm just going to go to Cody Walker shout and see how he goes this weekend, because it could, depending on how that left side attacks, if you don't move Stephen Crichton there, it could come up with some points on that edge.
Yep, I see it. The bigger one for me is Arama Howe. Are you not wanting to reserve him at all, because we've seen, someone like a Kalma Tuolangi absolutely dust that edge of the Broncos and come up with a couple of tries. You think similar could happen? He's going at Ezra Mann here.
Definitely similar could happen. I think it's more of the thought that maybe how much line share of the ball they're going to be able to have to actually do that. I feel like for me, I'm looking at the Broncos taking this one and going big with this one against the Titans, and the Titans not having a lot of opportunities to get Arama Howard to get onto Ezra Mam as much as what he had maybe over last week with the Dragons. With the amount of errors in that game, they gave him a lot of ball, a lot of good opportunity. So I'm probably banking on that more so than anything. But I definitely I see where your head's at. If it does become a 50-50 game, Arama Howard's going to have a lot of success on Ezra Mam, and that could turn into really good Supercoach points. But I'm just banking on pretty much them getting blown out, really.
Yeah, well, we've also banked on the Broncos blowing out Parramatta, didn't we?
Yeah, and that didn't go very well for me. That didn't go very well for me, but that's pretty much where my head's at with that one. It's very similar as what I said. There's certain guys in this competition or certain teams that I just don't feel comfortable with because they could just be on the back foot for the whole game 100%. And they could just shoot real low scores. So I'm probably banking on that more than anything.
Yep, I see it.
All right, my man. I think I still have your Supercoach team in here too. And we'll jump straight over to that.
You must have been the one making all the shit trades, eh? So you haven't used any boosts yet either, I've seen.
Nah, no boost yet, bro. I'm definitely holding out on all of that at the moment until probably around the Origin period. And I just don't feel like I've had the need to trade too much just yet. Yeah. I think that everything luxury, at the moment. Yeah, it's been a decent start. I had some luck go my way for sure with a couple of players. So I appreciate the Supercoach gods for giving me that luck. All right, here we go. Brodie's team for the weekend. Harry Grant in at number 9. We got Jackson Ford, Arama Howard starting in that front row. Trey Mooney and Paseka, they're still in reserves. Hudson Young, Preston Fafita. You're going a full CT dub, not CT dub, second row.
Second row.
Bench option. I love it.
Yeah, I'm torn on Joey Chan as a reserve this week. He's probably the one that I'm torn on, and maybe going a Mooney or a Chester. But, he's been too good. Jerome Hughes can come up with anything there for him. So we'll see how that goes.
Number 7, you got Nathan Cleary, Jonah Pezzett, no reserve on Cody, which is understandable. Cody can have those low weeks, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Herbie, Latrell, Ito, and Makasini there. As you said, Chester's sitting there waiting to maybe reserve. I see a new guy here in your team as well. We'll get to your trades very shortly. Farlongo, Keeney, and Walsh with the captaincy. So you're looking for a big score out of Reece Walsh over the weekend, right?
Yeah, I need something to happen for me. I'm chasing the pack and I'm falling further behind by taking some risk.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. So you trades for the weekend. You go on Seto 2 to David Farley to get a little bit of influx of cash, right?
Yeah, well, the annoying bit here is my only trade for the week was going to be Teddy straight for Walsh, but Walsh got his break even just last week, and Teddy tanked a little bit too much last week, so I missed out that even trade by $1,000. So I needed to burn a trade basically, and it's fine because Set 2-2 is probably done in the NRL this year, or who knows with the Dragons at this stage. But Farley had a really good performance in the one NRL game he played last year, so bring him in, get the cash. And now hopefully sit pretty for the next few weeks in trades because I've been burning those. I've already used 3 boosts for the year. So I'm just trying to get to that prime spot and now just hopefully sit back and let my guys make some money and save some trades.
Yeah, I can't really fault the team at all. There's a lot of similar little players here. Cal Iro, if he gets a lot of opportunity down the left edge with the Warriors, right edge defensively over the weekend, if Chance is still sitting there's probably some opportunities there still. Trey Mooney, probably it would be a good little, him getting back into that lineup against so who the Knights got again? I forgot.
They've got the...
Should just click on it. They got the Raiders.
There you go.
So it'd be a tough little game there. Old club. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, look, really, really torn. Ethan Sanders could be a good reserve option this week. Yeah, look, we look to both me and you rattle our brains about moving Keanu Kinney on. Just hasn't really reached that ceiling yet. The weekend for me was just frustrating. Iro started the game really well, and I was on the way. I barged back from Tangalooma, and I seen him get that early try, and I thought, yeah, here we go. That means
He's
80
on.
plus. He's getting that 60 in base, and then it's like he turned off the engine and thought, yeah, I'm at my 60, and that'll do. So when I got off the barge to see that, I was pretty frustrated. Same with Hudson. Hudson Young scored a try. I thought, yep, here we go, and then dropped off on the base as well. So it's tough. It's really, really tough. And you don't want to go too much with the pack because where's the fun in that? But when you don't, it seems to burn you a little bit. Ass.
It really does. It really does. It does suck with the Eero shout because you're 100% right. When I saw him crash over for the try, I was like, oh, like maybe I went early off of Eero. Like now he's got to try. He should go for a big score here because his basing been so good. And he just didn't. Like it was a weird one. But you're 100% right in the sense of like you try to go one way, you try to go away from the crowd, and sometimes it does bite you in the ass, unfortunately. But it also does feel like there's other people out there that can go away from the crowd and actually kill it as well. So just the way Supercoach ends up falling, right?
I think last week, I traded in Hudson, Jacko, and Paseka. I used a boost. And then I seen Paseka have like 5 hit-ups for the game, and I thought, what the fuck's this? And like Jacko getting ripped off early, and it's just, it is what it is. You can't crystal ball this shit, as much as you would like to. Like you watch, Walshy's got a dream run, and everybody should be looking to realistically get him into his Supercoach squad, and the Titans will somehow have a miracle and shut him down.
Yeah, I could see it. I could really see it. But yeah, shout out to Jose in the chat as well. So Crichton has definitely got to go, you reckon? Thinking of him to Sasangi. But I'd have a boost. I don't think he's a definite go. He's just was my only option to some people I wanted. As Brody, was discussing before, we both had eyes on moving Keeney out. Because Keeney's in that real realm as like he's hitting his break even, so he's holding steady, but he's not doing anything to elevate that I've been expecting of him this year. So it's been a real, like, not an annoying watch, but it's just been a real dour start to the season for him. And with Critter moving to the left edge, probably had a little bit more of a poorer performance last week, and he just hasn't had the upside I expected out of Critter. He's still a decent option, but probably didn't get to the high end. It was what I was hoping to get up to those Vals and those Herbie type of score lines that I was praying out of him.
Yeah, he doesn't, base as much as those guys. Adding the goal kicking duties, you probably thought he was going to go up a tick, but obviously with the dog, he's not scoring a lot of tries. That also doesn't help. So yeah, I think you'll see a good bounce back from him this week, but I can see Ash's frustration with him for sure. And you do got to somewhat manage not only like, are they going to bounce back and score well, but do you want to lose that cash in the short term? Like I've lost too much on Teddy already. I know that Teddy's a Supercoach holder long season, but I can't part with that cash right now. And the performance he's dishing out isn't enough when I can jump onto a Walshy that should have a good run for that same price, roughly.
100%. Shout out to Tarns. I went Tane because he's a dual, and Walsh. Hope Tane keeps his spot. So she's got Tane and Walsh in this week. Pretty good little options.
I like the Tane trade. I really did consider that because I like the look of him in that dual spot. It's just job security is a bit of a worry, but you know that he's going to base well. He can come up with a try or a line break or a try assist out of nowhere. So really a lot of upside, but it's just once your centers come back, is he going to keep that spot? And that's the worry.
Yeah, 100%. We don't know if Webby, if another week of, this team not performing, will he go back to Chance going to fullback and Tane losing his spot and Ali coming back into the side? Like, who knows? There's definitely a little bit of water under the bridge there. Jose, I tell you my depressing trade last week? Oh, this one sucks. I can already see it. Yeah, I thought Dewey wasn't playing, which a lot of people were saying last week. That sucks, man. Missed the Tanner Boyd train. Tried to jump on an early Metcalf. Metcalf scored 26, still in the app. That's a big one, Jose. I'm sorry to hear that one.
So you traded out Dewey, bro. You only just traded him in the week before, though. I understand the injury concern, though, but that one, man, you probably should have tried to reverse.
Yeah,
when you see him lining up, you should have reversed that trade.
I'm so hoping that's an April Fool's joke because
Jose was all Fool's joke too.
Yeah, he was all on Dewey. That's like crazy, and like Dewey having the game that he did as well. My God.
Yeah, brother, that's rough. If you trade someone in, you got to give them more than a week.
I feel for you, Jose. That's a tough one, that one. Unlucky, yeah, Michael.
And now he's gone up a lot as well, Dewey, because he obviously had a couple of great performances. So
yeah.
And Metzi, not a great start. So he's probably going to drop once his break even comes around.
It's true, all of it.
All right, I thought I had a bad brother, but you take the cake. But at the end of the day, you're still higher than me as well. So,
jeez, for how long? Tahi, I brought in Sasungi and Purdue. A lot of Sasungi shouts here, and he let go of Critter and Isaiah Yo.
I don't see it with Sasungi. I'm just waiting for Tim McCall to get the call up and him to go back to the bench. And I hope you guys don't get burnt in the meantime. The Purdue shout I like, especially the dual 5'8" center. There's not many 5'8" options. So if you've got him in 5'8" or got plans to move him to 5'8", I like that shout. Tanza Cooper Clark shout is good as well. His minutes probably won't be limited, but he looks like a guy that's going to get a pretty consistent bench spot. And, he's a cheapie that you can downgrade one of the other guys that made you a lot of cash to.
Yeah, with the really unfortunate news of Tui, so shout out to Tui. Hopefully he's doing well, Kamikamitha. It would mean that Cooper would get probably a bigger role, a bigger line share there. He hasn't scored fairly, like Tui's point per minute. It's not been too great there, but sometimes you can see with a bigger role, they probably can punch out a little bit more. He's actually a guy I looked at bringing in instead of Laiafi. So he could be a guy that comes into my side for that as well. I'm just going to wait and see how I feel about those ones. And against Penrith, probably not the option to go this week either. Yeah, Jose, the plan was to keep Metcalf, wait till he gets a dual 5'8", and then piss off Cody.
That's unlucky, brother. The only way me and Ash have talked about getting Mets in after he kind of burned us last year to start the season would be if he got the dual before we traded him in, and if Tanner wasn't in the team and he was goal kicking and the main man. That's the only way I'm touching Mets this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that with Tanner being in control of the side and Mets being the second fiddle in a sense of like he might get his attacking stats for tries and stuff, but the goal kicking and all that and the consistent stats, that's going to go all Tanner Boyd's way. So that's what hold me away from that. And I know everyone's looking for another 6 other than Cody Walker, but there's really nothing out there, guys. Like it's a tough
one
road.
To watch is Joash Papali'i, who is going to be playing fullback for the Eels. He will produce a pretty good score there at fullback. And Iongi is out for 6 to 8 weeks with surgery. So Joash Papali'i is a good downgrade next week for Cody Walker. This week I wouldn't touch Joash because he's got a break even of 90. So you're going to get him at about 40 to 50K cheaper next week. You just want to hope that Cody Walker doesn't tank cash this week, but that's the trade that I'll probably be looking to make next week if Joash looks pretty good in that Eels jersey.
Yeah, I'm probably going to follow Brody in on that one as well. Jose, I blame you guys for not having a show and talking me out of it. Yeah, here we go, mate. I blame yourself for even coming up with that idea, Jose.
Yeah, that's you, brother. You didn't listen to us when you took Dewey, which was the right option. What makes you think to not listen to us if we told you no? So, and then we got Sahi in the chat to let go of Critter and Yo. Ooh, I don't mind the Critter chat letting go. Like, I see it. But I say, you're going to have a big role this week against Melbourne in the middle.
I'd say he's more so looking at probably Yo's minutes lately, but I'd say that against Melbourne, I think they're going to push him out for a decent chunk, and you'll probably see him get back to that 80 base or something like that.
Put it this way, are you going to keep playing Yo 80 if the game's already wrapped and in bed? Whereas, like, if the game's going to be a bit tighter, like this weekend, he will play the 80. You know, like, why would you... Like, I'm surprised Cleary hasn't been having early stints just to, like, rest him.
Yeah, 100%. I think what they pulled Toto a little bit earlier last week and Isaiah Yo. So, yeah, but coming this week, I don't think they're going to have the time to rest. I think they're going to get ready for this one. But, yeah, it's up to you on that. It's just... There's a lot of love for Sasungi, and I kind of do agree with Brody in a sense of, like, I don't know what the goal is with Tomoko, but at any time Ricky he's known for it. He can make the big switch, and you could be at a loss there with Sasungi, who's been looking good, but you just don't know how long for.
100%. You know,
Purdue's a great shout though. I do like the Purdue shout.
I like the Purdue shout. Yeah, Sasungi, he's going to make you a bit of cash in the meantime though, if you want to ride the train. But yeah, long term, I worry. But what's long-term in Supercoach when you got so many trades at the start of the season, and then you just got to worry about having some up your sleeve for the end of the season, especially, once injuries and suspensions come and after Origin rest and stuff like that.
And we are professionals, guys. You can definitely continue to go like
not.
Jose.
You can see that.
Yeah, Jose definitely went down the right track to getting Dewey. Just unfortunately, he didn't listen to us with letting go of Dewey. So
yeah, he listened 2 weeks too late, and then it was too late.
So that can happen. So who knows? Go with your gut. That's the fun thing of Supercoach. You are the coach of your own side. It's only our little thoughts on either one of them. But brother, anything more you before we jet off and sail to the sunset?
Nah, not at all. Just have fun with it. Like, I say that as I stress like crazy about Supercoach. And me and Ash like always text about it. And my missus will be like, who are you texting? I'm like, Ash. She's like, what's the paragraphs? I'm like, Supercoach. She's like, it's not real though. And I'm like, don't say that. It's real.
Don't you say that.
Do you win money? She goes. And I'm like, no, it's bragging rights. It's better.
Hey, there's a chance of winning money, mate. If you go number one, you get 50K.
Mate, I just need to be one of our comp, not the fucking whole lot. So it's just stresses you, and I dread it every week, and I watch the game so much closer now, and I'm like,
yeah.
Who am I trading out? And as soon as lockout comes, I'm like, yep, trade. And I'm like, I haven't seen the team list yet. Yeah, anyway, don't stress about it. Just chill with it.
Yeah, you probably end up going a little bit better when you're doing it that way. It's like gambling, right? When you're betting on horses and that, the more you look into a horse, the more that you find out you actually don't go better that way. Like people that come in and just put money down on any random horse, they win just as much money as someone that actually watches form guides. So
exactly right.
But no, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Obviously, hopefully the Warriors and the Doggies get back on the winning train this weekend and get... I'm hoping for my Warriors for sure, and hopefully Melbourne Storm beat the Penrith Panthers so they don't go 0-4 for the season.
No, look, good luck. Enjoy your Easter break, everybody. 5 days of footy, so enjoy that.
Yeah, and enjoy your chockies, enjoy your weekend, and hopefully, you guys have a good little weekend. Take it easy, guys. Appreciate you guys. Up the was.
Cheers.
You.